Chris?
And there was a play where Donovan caught a pass, and they said he was covered. Did you get an explanation on that play?
Yeah, the two receivers, the slot receiver and the wide receiver Donovan, they said we're both on the line of scrimmage, and I think it was Nico. Donovan was supposed to be on, Nico was supposed to be off, and Nico was off, but he signaled that he was on, and so that that's something we've addressed. We're close, really close on another time where we had receivers moving, not getting set yet, and we had a motion taking place, which more than two people, two or more in motion is a foul too, and that was really close. So addressing some of those things.
On the left, Larry.
In what ways is this game an opportunity to kind of see where your team is and how it's improved against a quality opponent like Iowa?
Well, we'll definitely, if you can play two really good games in a row, I mean, that would be a trend in my mind. 3 or more would become a habit. So trying to cement that as a goal for us, and that's where we want to be, consistently good.
And Iowa, just early thoughts on them and what they have both sides of the ball?
Yeah, they're consistently good. Have been for many years, and probably the thing that strikes you the most about them is that they're consistently really good in all 3 phases. Good and experienced, and good and consistent.
With the way that the game has evolved, where college is influencing the NFL, how much do you think your NFL experience, coaching, is still as valuable as maybe it was when you first came to Michigan?
I don't know how much.
Steve?
Jim Carlo Kemp comes from almost a bigger football family than you came from.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about what you can sense from him as a result of that, and some of his relatives as well.
As you say, the Picano family, from grandfather to uncles. You walk into their house, I mean, it's around the dinner table, and it's football talk, pictures that hang on a wall, or football pictures, their family, their friends, their experiences. I mean, Carlos had that, and his brother have had that their whole lives. That's how valuable is that? I don't exactly know, but a lot. And he's doing a tremendous job. I mean, one of our real staunch leaders on the team, and his play is, and the effort that he gives each game. He knows. He was taught that from the time he could toddle.
Back, Andrew.
The kickoff to open the second half where Rutgers fumbled, did you have to request a replay review, or is that all referee's discretion? How did that work?
No, I sprinted over to talk to Tyler Cochran just to get a sense from him how fast it happened, and did he think it was a fumble, and he said he did, and then I turned to go challenge the play, and they were already challenging it. So I was running over to see him, and then trying to run back to the official, and they had already started the challenge procedure.
Along the lines of the question I asked, I mean, how much do you think your offensive experience and your familiarity with the schemes that you had has melded with Josh's schemes and just overall philosophy?
Really well. I'm really excited about it. I think get along great. He's great. He's an easy person to get along great with, and a really hard-working coach. That he's a ball guy. So we've all meshed and gelled well as the professional relationship, and a personal note. I think he's a great guy, and fun to be around. You know, all the good things, you know, about a personality. He has them, and feel the same way about each and every one of our coaches. But yeah, he's all ball and fun to be around too. Hilarious and funny, and you know, really hardworking.
Angelique?
Jim, do you expect McCaffrey back this week and Josh Ross's status this week, and how does that affect McGrone?
I expect that, I mean, it's possible. Let's use those words, the possible and doubtful words. But I think it's possible that Dylan would, everything goes really well, could possibly be practicing this week. I'd say doubtful for the game. Josh Ross, probably doubtful this week.
And McGrone, do you like?
Oh, Cam McGrone, you know, really good. I think Kwity Paye was, if you had to single out one person on the defense to give a game ball to, it'd be Kwity Paye. And but if there was a honorable mention category, or you know, a second game ball that would be given out, it would be Cam McGrone. I thought he was, you know, took another step in everything. Physical play, you know, eye discipline, tackling, pressure on the quarterback, blitz patterns were really good, and his speed keeps showing up. There was really good. Glasgow was really good. Aiden Hutchinson was really good. Big hit, big play in the game. Also the corners, Ambry Thomas and Lavert Hill were really good. Brad Hawkins had another really good game. This is becoming a habit now with Brad. He's playing really well on defense, playing really well in all areas. Mike Dana also was outstanding in the game, and I think the group challenged inside guys. Mike Dwumfor really stepped up and gave some energy and pass rush that was very helpful in the defensive effort. And there was a lot of good on the defense, and I don't think we really. I think the longest pass play we let up was 17 yards, and the longest run was 8, 6, 7. So really good.
In the back left, sorry.
How do you think Joe Milton played?
Joe was good. Joe was good. He's got to feel coming out of the game good about himself. We feel good about the way he played. He's had some consecutive good weeks of practice. Had another good one today, and I thought he played really well. The touchdown throw was really good. I felt like it was him and Giles Jackson made an adjustment during the play. I mean, that was not the design of the play to have Giles turn out, and there's some people were talking about that they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing, and I informed them of my policy of not getting upset about touchdowns and applied that policy. And then when you looked at it on the film, Giles did not break off the route, and Joe threw it to the open area. Joe made the adjustment, and then Giles adjusted his route to the throw, which was plus by Joe, plus by Giles. So I thought that was really good.
Austin?
Just to follow up on McGrone, did he show you anything Saturday that you hadn't seen before from him? Has it kind of been building in practice for him, or has he really taken it up a notch just lately?
Yeah, it's been building. There was a real inflection point right in the middle of camp where, he was challenged to be a more physical player, and responded like that. It was in the ensuing days. It was he just became a real physical player, and we were seeing that in practice, and then to see it in the games too. That puts the exclamation point on it, and so he's taken off. I mean, it's a good trend right now.
Front here, right, Ashley?
To follow up on Joe, Jim, Josh last week was talking about how his arm strength has always been a strength, but that he's gotten better with accuracy. Just what have you seen from him over the last year or so in that regard?
Yeah, he's worked at it. There's different ball flights, different appropriate throws. Not everything is a line drive fastball. There's got to be a lot of elevation. There's medium elevation. There's shorter throwing motion for the shorter throws to make a catchable ball for a runner. And Joe's responding and really working on it. And it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, that's probably we can all think of quarterbacks throughout the history of football that never did be able to get to understand throwing with touch or throwing the fastball, and when needed the appropriate throw for the appropriate down. But he's working really hard at it, and it's coming along really well. Definitely has a lot of arm talent, and it's really important to him, which is a must. That's has to be that way to really get better and better and better. Realizing that there's always something to work on and something to improve, and he's approached that with a real great attitude in that way as well. So yeah, we love Joe, and it's fun to watch him develop and keep her going.
John?
Coach, you touched on Jordan in this last game, but can you talk a little bit about your experience with the Glasgow brothers in general and the family in the time you've been here?
Yeah, the two great parents, both professional doctors, and Graham Glasgow and Ryan were both here when I got here. Graham was in his last year, and Ryan had 2 years of eligibility. And then Jordan was here too that first year that I got here as a freshman, and yeah, enjoy talk about a football family. That's one really strong, new, powerful football family. Just really neat to know the stories, and Jordan's personality was always growing up watching the older brothers do things, watching the older brothers get to do things. They were old enough to play a sport, and he wanted to, and you're not old enough, and just unconsolable until they made the exception to let him play. I mean, that's him. He's a jackhammer. He's one of the hardest working football players I've ever been associated with, and that's hard working on the field, in practice, in games, on special teams, do anything. Nothing, no job too big, no job too small, and does it with a great team attitude, and at all times, always one of the most unselfish players that I've ever had the pleasure to coach as well. And he's just stud in the weight room, or any workout that you organize. I mean, he's always giving it his God-given best that he has, and which is a lot. And he's always on time, and he's always never gives anybody any grief. And it's a long list of really great things about him. And he's in the Ross School of Business, where he attacks that with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. With never an excuse or complaint or you know, flu, cold, sickness, nothing. You know, he's an amazing guy.
All right.
The passing game was a lot more involved at the end of the Wisconsin game and against Rutgers. Do you see that being a trend where you guys are throwing the ball a lot more than you have been?
I don't know. Those things are, hard to predict.
Chris?
Coach, Sean McCune's status, and can you assess how Luke and Eric have played in their action the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, Luke and Eric, the good news is they're playing all out. They're making some mistakes at times, but they're going full speed while they're making them, which is, been cost us a couple times that they were, blocking the wrong guys down on the goal line. But part of the process, part of the learning and understanding, but it's not too big for them. They're not the types to, get small or, kind of hide. They're all out, and they're attacking it with they're hungry and a smile on their face, and put me in, coach, type of attitude, which is great. We'll get the other things fixed, but really happy with them. As far as Sean, his rehab possibly looks like it could come along faster than first expected, so we'll wait and see.
Got time for a couple more, Aaron?
Jim, your team has already faced Wisconsin. You've obviously seen tape on Iowa. How would you define the commonalities between those two programs?
Both really good, both really consistently good. Experienced in good football teams. Very, very similar DNA.
Ryan?
Jim, what have you seen from Chris Hinton and Monty Smith, and are they close to breaking into a rotation at defensive tackle?
Yeah, first, Mozzie looks really, really good. Just what he's done with his physique in the last 9 months. Talked to him this morning at our morning practice, and he looked great. Looks really good. Chris Hinton is, been getting in there quite a bit and playing on special teams, and I think they're both like, kind of on the precipice of breaking through and playing more.
Do you guys always practice on Monday mornings?
Not always.
Is that a new thing?
Yeah, it's been new.
Yeah.
The last couple weeks.
And then the second part.
Good way to start off the Monday with a bang.
Right?
Yeah.
With the run game, you guys got a lot of backs in there. You guys have had to shuffle some stuff with the offensive line. You're doing some new things as well. Iowa's pretty salty up front. Where do you want that to be? Where do you think it is right now overall, the run game in terms of consistency and being able to move people?
There was some really good physical play in the offensive line. There was quite a few really good examples, and that's some of the things that we've been seeing in practice for a couple months now, and it was good to see that in the game. I thought John Runyon played his best game. I thought he was also back more to, John, his capabilities. I think he was slowed the first couple weeks. He wasn't moving around as well, as athletic as he is. Probably Thursday, saw it kind of, this is, looks more like John, and then Saturday it was a lot more, like he was 100%, close to 100%. I don't know if he was all the way to 100%, but it looked close. And he had an outstanding game, probably our most outstanding lineman of the game. I thought Jalen Mayfield made strides, and then consistently good. Still Ben Bredesen playing really well, and Michael Wainu, and they're working better, in there together, as that group of five, as that team that hasn't always been you know, just 5 guys practicing each week and then 5 guys playing in the game each week. But I think that's part of the equation.
Last question, Angelique.
With Charbonnet, you'd said after the Wisconsin game he was limited. How would you classify him now? And like, what's a ballpark for carries you'd like to see?
I say we're kind of limited in his carries. I don't know how many carries, not really, but how many plays he's actually in there, because you don't always know if it's going to be a run or a throw, depending on the play. But I don't know. I like the fact that you could split it up, maybe 20-20-20, and maybe a few for a fourth guy. But Zach played really well. Christian Turner played really well in this game, had some really fine runs, and Hassan Haskins has really played well. I mean, we've been watching Hassan now really make big strides in practice, and to see him play that way in the game. And there's some examples of him, dropping his hips and getting through the hole like some of the really special backs can do. So, true redshirt freshman Hassan Haskins has really come on. So they're excited about the way he played. As I said, the other backs as well played really good too. And I think there was some good number about. Maybe you guys already wrote about that. How many different people touched the ball and the receivers. Just a little bit about them. I mean, Nico Collins, he toughed it up. He had a bit of a strep throat early in the week and missed a couple of days of practice, and then really looked good in the game. Tariq Black got some catches. Good to see Donovan Peoples-Jones. He looked more towards 100%. I don't know if he's all the way quite there, but looked a lot better. Looked fast. Always tough. I mean, really helped in the punt return game. I mean, winning, their punting game had been really good. The 2 returners back there helped with Donovan and Ronnie Bell. And speaking of Ronnie Bell, I think 13 of his last 15 have gone for first downs. Ronnie Bell's playing really well. Been consistently good now for months. And then thought Shea Patterson had a great game. Threw the ball really effectively. Was seeing the field great. Dynamic out of the pocket, scoring touchdowns, and he was a little bit limited too during the week, and didn't show any signs of that when he played in the game on Saturday. So thought he great game for him and for all the other folks on offense that I mentioned.
Is Zach better physically than he was a couple weeks ago? I mean, do you feel more confident with where he is? Pardon me.
Yeah, he looks good.
So he's
When I watch him move, he looks good. Looks good moving and looks good running. He look good to you?
Well, he didn't play that much, but yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I just wondered if that's part of being limited, or did you want to get the other guys more reps in the game?
Well, when we talked about that, I think it was a week ago or whatever, I thought the 33 carries was way too many, and wanted to limit that from one back carrying the ball 33 times.
Can you describe kind of wear and tear that is on a running back's body to have 33 carries like that?
Yeah, probably in totality, that's not something that we want to strive for with our running backs. So, but occasionally that may occur, but not something that I think you want to consistently do with running backs. So that's what.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thanks.